Hey everybody, Adam O'Leary, Nika Yushkovich, Encite Live, coming to you from the Denver Athletic Club in downtown Denver. Things going well?
Yeah. So far, so good. How are things with you?
No complaints.
There you go.
We're looking forward to spring's coming up here pretty soon, right? I'm excited. Yeah.
Excited for the warmer weather, that's for sure.
Yeah, super excited. So a couple of topics that I want to talk about today. A couple of months ago, the Super Bowl happened, right? And every marketing company ad agency talks about the ads. So we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the ads.
It's one of the biggest events for marketers in the year is to look at the Super Bowl ads. So.
It's really is the only really time that everybody's talking about the ads, right?
Yeah.
And it brings out a lot of creativity for the ads. And look, even not as a marketer, I enjoy some of those, right? Like it's pretty funny.
A lot of people who aren't even sports fans love watching the Super Bowl just to see what creative ads are out there. Yeah.
Right. But one thing I wanted to talk about, because an ad came out from Forbes and they talked a little bit about the cost of ads. Obviously, it's super expensive.
Always has been.
Right.
Especially for the Super Bowl.
Right. But they talked about how viewership is falling. It's talked about the ad rates are rising. And one of the things they really talked about was, I think the average ad was like, for a 30-second spot, $7 million. So you have to have some deep pockets to even be in the conversation. But one of the statistics they have it on there is like how many, a single ad dollar is reaching how many people. Like in the past, you would reach 50 some odd people, but now it's like reaching only like 15 people per ad dollar. But those ads are still going up in price, which is
inflation.
Unbelievable. Yeah, and that's part of it, right?
Yep.
But I think what the article talked a little bit about too is are these Super Bowl ads even measuring any kind of ROI? And how do some of those those advertisers measure ROI? And we do that a little bit differently. Obviously, our clients aren't doing Super Bowl ads. So how important? Not yet. But how are we measuring ROI, and how are they measuring ROI? And obviously PepsiCo and Doritos and all the car companies are all doing these kinds of things. But some of the marketing managers in the article was talking about how they measure it, and they were actually talking about how PepsiCo it's an easy kind of launch for a new product, and they can easily put ROI to how many units they're selling. Right? Pretty simple. Awareness, that many eyeballs, how many new sales do we have in that product? And then they were talking about some other companies that are measuring website views. Some companies are talking about customer engagement and how they measure that. So they kind of measure ROI differently, but the
depending on the ad,
depending on the ad, depending on the company. But does ROI really matter for those kinds of companies? And they have those big budgets.
I think a lot of it is brand awareness for the most part, especially when it comes to mass media. So much of that goal with doing mass media advertisements is going to be that brand awareness and like knowing about the company. Why does Coca-Cola even advertise anymore? Everybody knows what Coca-Cola is. Everybody buys Coca-Cola. They see it at the store. They don't need like education on the product or anything like that. So why does Coca-Cola advertise? And it's just to keep it fresh in your mind. So you see the ad and you think, oh, maybe I kind of want a Coca-Cola right now. So
repetition,
it's all about that.
Repetition, and of course the competitive environment comes into that as well. So if Pepsi is advertising, Coke should be advertising, and they're back and forth with market share, brand. Everybody knows Pepsi and Coke, right?
Yeah, those are the two big competitors in that industry.
So, but how does that relate, like sometime to us and to, our clients, right? Like our clients are measuring things so differently. And it's so much more granular for our guys.
Absolutely. I think a big part of it is just the goals that each client has. Before we start advertising for them on the digital side or doing anything really for them, we ask what their goals are. Because we want to establish our strategy and our process and everything that we do for them in order to be in line with those goals and the best way to meet those objectives that they have for themselves. So I think a big part of how we measure it for ourselves is looking at, okay, what do you guys want to accomplish? And then we figure out what numbers we need to look at in order to measure that specific objective. So if
Yep.
it's, impressions, obviously we're going to be looking at impressions. If they want more conversions, sales, leads, we're going to be looking at how many people actually took that action.
Yep.
So I think a big part of it is goals. And with the Super Bowl, because these companies have that much money to spend, I think a big part of it is just brand awareness and getting eyeballs on their ads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point, man. Impressions and goals, and what is the strategy moving forward for our clients is, I don't know that our clients don't have the luxury, that luxury of like, hey, we're going to put something out that is strictly brand awareness, because we need to be very specific and very intentional with every ad dollar spent for them, right? Like it's very much a top of mind thing for our clients. It's top of mind for us, right? Like so. I think that the vast majority of our clients is looking at bringing in leads, bringing in sales, but there's so many different things to go into that, and it's in the article they talk a little bit about some of these other companies, and it's like a vanity thing. It's a vanity metric to be like, hey, we were in the Super Bowl. We're they're looking forward to it every year. I can say that in Super Bowl, it can win awards, which is good, right? Like good for marketing teams, good for morale, good for, we do the same thing with local, awards. It's good for us to kind of get that recognition for us. But, our clients don't have the luxury of saying, I can drop that kind of money.
I think a big part of it is that our clients are on the smaller startup business side.
Yep.
They're not like these huge corporations yet.
We're trying. That's where we're taking them to, right?
Yes, exactly. But when we think about those types of clients, we really have to look at the sales funnel, and you just can't get to that loyalty part yet when you have these smaller businesses, because when you're looking at like the product growth cycle and everything like that, most people who are trying these products and trying these companies are going to be earlier on in that like early adopters and stuff like that.
You're making them you are as there's awareness portion there, but you have to make them aware. These clients already have that awareness.
Exactly.
Our clients don't necessarily have that awareness.
Exactly. They just need people to know that they exist.
Yeah.
Essentially, to put it simply. They just need people to know that they exist, and then to start considering them from that point forward. But I don't think that they're at the stage yet in their growth and life cycle where they have that loyal clientele, and we're just trying to build them up to that.
Yeah. So you think, and we talk about this, we think that it's probably better to appeal to smaller, more specific groups, more targeted audiences for our clients, because we have to be very intentional with ad dollars, right?
Yeah.
So, which is, I guess, another thing that super important in our brand strategy is identifying who that audience is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of back end before we actually do anything. It's a lot of strategizing and planning and figuring out who are the groups that are going to have the best yield for us, the best ROI and everything. So it's a lot of planning.
Yeah, but if you think of our client base too, we have a wide variety of clients in a wide variety of industries. Architecture, education, Frito-Lay, healthcare,
Wi-Fi,
SaaS, software as a service. So I guess the luxury that big consumer brands have is everybody potentially will drink a Coke.
Yeah.
Everybody potentially will eat a Dorito or a Frito-Lay product, right? Not necessarily Doritos, but maybe, Lay's, potato chips or whatever. So you can appeal to that mass market, but say one of our clients that's, in architecture, that's a very specific target market. So it is super crucial that, would a Super Bowl ad work for them? Absolutely, they would drive awareness. Do they have $7 million to do it? Nope. No. So we have to, again, be intentional to that, right?
That does bring up an interesting point too, because a lot of the commercials that you see during the Super Bowl are B2C companies, like it's consumer goods for the most part, whereas a lot of the companies that we work with are more B2B. And so the Super Bowl having advertisements like that, it wouldn't necessarily be the top objective, because, it's great. spending this money, getting a Super Bowl ad. That's always a great thing. But at the same time, you have to think about what is really worth it, and are there other channels that are going to be better for us? And mass media, I think in general for B2B businesses isn't really the way to go.
Yeah, they did a little bit. I mean, didn't GoDaddy several years ago did a really big one?
They
that
did.
was just kind of like businesses. So
They
I mean,
did,
there's
yeah.
some of that work, but for the most part, it's cars, soda,
Yeah.
beer.
Yeah,
You know, now I can't
nothing
even think
really
about-
niche like architecture. Definitely nothing in the architecture realm.
Yeah. So some of they had some really good ones this year, and I think that they really kind of tapped into that emotional perspective. I mean, there was puppies, and there was
What was your favorite?
You know
What was
what?
your favorite
I don't
ad?
know that I had a favorite. Like,
Really?
did you have a favorite?
I did. I liked the Tubi one where it caused a lot of drama, where it looked as if somebody was like controlling the remote, but it didn't. I thought that was like the most interesting advertisement that happened during the Super Bowl. Everything else was kind of like boring to me. Like, yeah, you have the celebrities and you have this huge, highly manufactured thing, but it all just sort of fades away into the background when everybody's doing that, in my opinion. If it's in the middle of some sort of random season, all of a sudden there's an ad with Pedro Pascal in it. I'm like, okay, this is awesome. But when it's the Super Bowl and every other ad has a Pedro Pascal in it, it's kind of like, all right, where's the originality, guys? Let's bring it on.
Yeah, but it still comes back to the 2B ones going into memorability.
Memorability?
Yes, I don't know that word. It was memorable, right? And I guarantee, I mean, we all did it. It was like, what the heck's going on, kind of thing. But, getting back to the emotional part too, is they do really well kind of like tying into that emotional piece. Tubi did it, the emotion of fear of like, oh my God, what's happening?
Yeah.
Right? So
go back to the game.
Yeah, right. So I thought it was really, I thought there's some good, ads in there, but yes, they're still, maybe they're kind of jumping the shark. Some of them are jumping the shark a little bit.
Yeah,
doing
definitely.
the same old thing. But anyway, I thought it was a great Super Bowl. I thought it was a great game. I thought it was some great ads out there. But to talk about how you get some ROI from that, there's a wide variety of different goals and strategies, and every single one of those advertisers have a different goal and strategy. They measure it measurably different. But the summary is for small to medium-sized businesses, we need to be more intentional, need to be more specific in exactly what we do and what we spend our ad dollars on. So that's what we would help to do.
Yep.
That's it today.
That's it.
Super Bowl, it's Adam, Nika, Encite Live. We'll see you guys on the next episode.